things we use every day often are taken for granted. Today, John Rodke will talk about the design that goes into them. Please help me welcome John with Cradle to Cradle. Cradle to Cradle, John Rodke.
Ubiquitous household items. Things you see every day, things you use almost every day, that you don't really think about until they break or fail. Okay. Laundry basket. How many people use a laundry basket regularly? Probably everybody. If not, you have some interesting laundry styles. This ubiquitous item is very similar to what I grew up with, except for it didn't collapse down. This one does.
Wow.
I love the design. I love the change. And I've used this thing maybe 10 times since I got it 3 years ago. We have 2 larger baskets, the bins that we put them in. And with Heather, was like, I just want to have a second one. So we bought a second one 5 years ago. And when one gets full, there's room in the other one. So we'll take that one and wash the clothes. And they basically just get cycled that way. And I found this, and I think I got it at a garage sale for like $1.50, and I was excited because it's a collapsible, cool design, and it'll work well, and I've rarely used it. And I'm probably going to use it in the new house, but it kind of bugs me that I have this such a cool design from the engineering perspective, but I don't use it much. So it's kind of just sitting there. It's one of those items that it's a keep for now, but maybe not forever.
You can throw it my way.
Check it out. One other item that I've been thinking about quite a bit is this stapler. Have you seen my stapler? You get the reference? You get it. This little tiny swingline stapler is all I really need now. And it has a staple remover built in. And it has a space for extra staples that you can stash in the thing. What a cool design. Different than those giant staplers you remember as kids, or even the fancier swing lines that we hear, that you hear the just staccato ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk as people are going through, almost as bad as like the passport stamps. But this little tiny device can transform chaos into order by not having all your paperwork going through a tray. This little tiny thing, but it also has only a little bit of metal left in it. It's almost all made out of microplastic, or out of plastics, which create microplastics with throwaway items. But items that are not thrown away are milk crates. How many people have a milk crate in their house? 1, 2. Okay, 1 or 2 of you. I have probably 25 of these. And this one in particular, I think I've had since I was 4 years old. Wow. It seems really weird, huh? And I got it from my grandfather. And I have a different couple that I know where it is. This one I'm not quite sure. But I've had these crates since I was a little kid. We had bunk beds made out of 2x4s, and these crates would slide underneath the bunk beds. Just right. You can pull stuff out, and you can see a little bit of what's going on, so you know, have a general idea of what's inside. Crates are great. You can stand on them. Go, reach a little higher. You can do different stuff. Right now in our garage, we have 9 crates stacked up as a shoe rack because they fit perfectly with a couple zip ties put together. It's one nice item that you can spray off if stuff gets too dirty. There's all sorts of uses. But this super durable thing is 34 years old. A piece of plastic that's been used constantly for 34 years. And it's still in pretty good shape. No breakage, no issues. That's a cool design, right? This is something that's been heavily used. A different one, we built a human-powered trebuchet right around Halloween. Does anybody go to the science factory where they have the trebuchet, or the catapult contest, pumpkin chucking contest? Seen those? We built one using a bunch of random chunks of steel I had in the bottom of a milk crate, and we put a piece of wood over the top, and you sat on this milk crate. And then you grabbed onto this bar, and it was human and metal as the counterweight for a trebuchet. And you wore a brain bucket, just to make sure you didn't get a concussion, because if you went up too high, you'd hit the pendulum arm that was coming down. And we chucked a pumpkin like 110 feet.
Wow.
That was awesome. Then we went out to a park in South Eugene, and we chucked a pumpkin 150 feet. And we had like 40 different people trying this out. And it was a weird roller coaster ride, and maybe we have some spinal disc issues after. But it was a lot of fun. So, but that was a milk crate. It was a milk crate holding that together. What do we do with stuff we design? As engineers, and John's an engineer, done plenty of designs himself. When you design something, it's for a specific purpose. Usually one purpose, maybe a couple. But do you design for something to be used for 100 different things? Not usually. And it's kind of a shame. Something that all of us are using that is a plastic item right now are these tables. And these tables are a very functional design. They're light enough that you can put them away easily. Almost anybody can carry them and move them. Some people with some mobility issues might not. It might have a little bit of a challenge, but 2 people can easily put them away. They are infinitely cleanable. I mean, there's maybe some coffee stains included on these, but they're used by hundreds of people regularly. These designs that we build, if we can use them for a year, 10 years, decades, then I think it's worth the potential harm that the microplastics can do. The potential harm of this legacy item that once it's broken, once it's done with its use, it's going to go to a landfill most likely. Or get chucked out on the side of the road and erode slowly. Sun's going to break it down a little bit. If it gets into the ocean, it's going to float around for quite a while. It might get swallowed by something, or it might eventually break down. But these long carbon chains that we put together, they're not really built to be used again. It's mostly one-use items. Some plastics are recyclable, but that's its own issue with process. So a lot of things have switched to cardboard. Is cardboard better or is cardboard not? In a lot of ways, it's an amazing mortar material. You can build cardboard box forts, you can build all sorts of packaging that keeps stuff safe, and you ship it, and then you can recycle it, and it can be chopped up again and used to make more boxes. I think it's cool, but it's also something that, at least for us, we put a bin out to the curb full of cardboard boxes almost every week. How wasteful is that? I'm 38, I'm not the youngest, but I still remember when things came in wooden boxes. You could order stuff and you'd get things in wooden boxes that could be reused. The whole art of cooperage, barrel making, that was the way things were shipped for centuries. And those barrels were reused time and time and time again. Milk crates were used time and time and time again. Cardboard boxes were used once, maybe twice. So I just want you to think about what you're using and how those designs affect how they're used, how things are used. This book, Cradle to Cradle, by William McDonnell and Michael Braungart, I read 12 years ago, and it stuck with me. The book was made out of recycled plastic pages that could be eventually dipped in it's a special acid solution, and all the ink would melt off the page, and it could be reprinted. Not the most practical thing. Paper's so cheap, it's so easy, but the idea, they were trying really hard to get the concept across that you could design something that could be infinitely used, infinitely reused, time and time and time again. And the pages of it, have you ever had like a waterproof journal that you could write on? You guys experience those. A little bit thicker pages, not quite as thick as like your portfolio plastic, but very readable, nice texture to it. The book felt nice in your hand, but you could tell it wasn't paper. In that book, they're talking about how you can design things so that they can go through their design life, and then for a very low cost, they can be reused. So they can be recycled, they can be upcycled, they can be downcycled. Finding ways that your products don't just end up in a landfill. That's something I'm very interested in, and it's something I've been thinking about when I'm buying something. So, bought this stapler. This is probably, we've got 5 years of use out of it so far, and it's still running great. Milk crate, many decades now, doing well. And a laundry basket that I got that I rarely used. I'm trying to be conscious when we're buying new stuff for this house. And Heather's a wizard when it comes to Facebook Marketplace. We're getting deals left and right. But I'm picking stuff up and I'm like, You might need another thing. You might need something else. But yeah, we're outfitting 2.5 bathrooms now. We had 2 baths and now we're gonna change it up. We're getting a new microwave, we're getting a new washer, a new oven and range. We're getting all of these little items that, yeah, they're part of everyday life. And they're not things we can bring from our rental right now. So we're adding stuff to our pile, our hoard, our tyranny of stuff, as George loves to talk about. But I'm trying to get stuff that is going to last. I'm trying to spend the money now so that we can use the thing for 3 decades. I'm trying to get stuff now that we don't need to replace after 2 years. I'm trying to get stuff now that I don't need to load up truckloads and truckloads of stuff and take it to the dump. So I've so far dropped off, I think, 7 tons of trash debris into a dump. 7 tons. That's a huge carbon footprint. But it's from a house from 1942. So it's been used, it's been well loved. But there's elements that I don't want to put down for the next person who's taking it down. So I encourage you, when you're making your purchases for this holiday season, it's the season to buy, it's the season to get all the new things. Buy stuff that's going to last. Buy stuff that you're going to enjoy. Buy stuff that you're going to take with you from elementary school, through college, through early adulthood, and into middle adulthood, still using it regularly, daily, and enjoy every minute.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's take a minute.